Before Cubase 7.5, any of your instrument tracks had one more disadvantage, and that is that you couldn't assign multiple outputs into the mix console, because those instrument tracks only had one left and one right output, or one stereo output. But with Instrument Racks 2.0, you can address all of the outputs of any VST instrument, including those found on instrument tracks, into the mix console. Let me show you how to do that. I'm just going to record enable the analog pad track, and I'm going to reveal the VST instrument rack by typing F11. Now there are three different ways to activate additional outputs from inside of any instrument that's in the VST instrument rack. And because I have the master instrument track selected, and that's the one I used to create this instance of Halion-Sonic SE in the VST instrument rack, I can now come down here and you'll notice that it has an output assignment. And if I click on this little button, then I can activate all of the different outputs that that particular VST instrument is capable of. Right now we only have the main output selected, so it's only got one stereo output. But what I'm going to do is enable the second one and the third one, because I want to route these three instruments into three separate audio channels of the mix console. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is right inside of the VST instrument rack. You'll notice that every instrument has a little Activate Outputs button right here, and it's very similar to the one that you see in the output selection in the inspector, and you can see that all three of those outputs are currently enabled. There's a third way to do it, but I doubt you'd use this very much. You could right or control click on the VST instrument and then go to Activate Outputs, but this method is not quite as easy because as soon as you activate another output, it vanishes. The other windows stay open when you select them. And then you'll also notice that all three methods had this All Outputs option. When you click that, you're going to activate all 16 stereo outputs of Halion-Sonic SE, or all of the outputs that that particular VST instrument is capable of using, whether it be one of the Steinberg plugins that comes with Cubase 7, or whether it's a third-party instrument. So I'm going to disable the output and then close the window. So now I can go into the control panel of Halion-Sonic SE and I can route those other instruments to different outputs inside of the mix console. So I'm going to take this analog pad sound and I'm going to click on the Mix tab and I'm going to assign its output to the main output, which is the default. Let's go to the second sound and I'm going to route its output to the second output. And then this last sound that I had down here on slot number 13, I'm going to route it out to the third output. And then I'm going to close the Halion-Sonic SE2 control panel, and I'm going to call up the mix console by typing F3 on my computer keyboard. Right now I still have the first analog pad sound enabled, and its outputs are coming out of this channel. Those other two channels that I just created are located right here, HSSE out number 2 and HSSE out number 3. But the MIDI tracks that are assigned to those instrument channels are right here. Here's MIDI track number 4 and MIDI track number 5. So watch when I have this track record enabled and I play some notes on the analog pad track. See, that sound comes out of this channel. But if I record enable the MIDI track that is assigned to the second output, which is this channel, when I play some notes on my MIDI keyboard now, we'll hear the sound coming through this channel. And conversely, if I go to the third channel, which is right here, and then watch this output channel, the sound for this lead will come through this channel. So not only can you address any instance on any channel inside of Instrument Rack 2.0, you can also address all of the audio outputs from any multi-timbral or multi-output VST instrument. Then you can also change your MIDI input routing by clicking this button so that you can choose which MIDI inputs are coming into any instance of the instrument that's loaded into that slot. There's also a preset button for calling up new presets if you'd like. And you can also read and write enable the automation, and you can also freeze the instrument track from right here in the rack. Now next I'm going to show you how to use the VST quick controls.